All right, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Scales here with another video on the Scales Sports channel. Y'all know I suck at introduction, so let's get right into the topic for today. So, I had a conversation as the season starting to wind down with the Thunder and the Pacers in the finals for the NBA season, and I had an idea that I talked through with a couple different friends, couple different fans, and they liked the idea that they wanted me to at least share it with y'all. And I want to get y'all thoughts on this as well. I'll be very brief with it because it's a very easy topic to understand, especially if you're a sports fan, especially if you're a fan of the NFL. Essentially, my idea for how to make the NBA more competitive during the regular season and obviously through the play-in and the playoffs is going to be transitioning the NFL playoff format over to the NBA. And I want to show y'all essentially how it would work this season. But if y'all understand how the NFL playoffs works, then y'all probably understand this as well. But it's pretty simple. So if we're looking at the Western Conference this year, we had the Thunder has the one seed, Rockets, Lakers, Nuggets, Clippers, and the Timberwolves all get the 2 through 6 spot. You then had the Warriors and Memphis that had to fight for the 7, 8 spot that's in there. And then obviously the 9, 10 for the play-in was the Kings and the Mavs, right? So then we move up. Cavs were number one. You have the Celtics, Knicks, Pacers, Bucks, and the Pistons all through that 2 to 6. Then you did have the Hawks and the Magic as the seventh, eighth seeds before the play-in tournament occurred, and then the Heat and the Bulls ended up toggling out for the 9 and 10 spots over there. My idea is threefold. Number one, give the number one seed a first round bye in the playoffs to make the number one seed mean something, to give an incentive to the players to make sure that, hey, I have something to fight for, I have something to strive for throughout the entire season. You get a break at All-Star. What would it be for any player to go through and play for 82 games as hard as possible and get rewarded with a minimum of a week of rest before their next game, and you automatically jump all the way to the conference semifinals to where you're already one ring ahead to getting to your next goal of trying to win an NBA championship. Now, I understand that from a league perspective, there's already going to be some misses there because we're going to talk about missing a lot of games, which is a lot of ad revenue, which is a lot of exposure that's being missed for the league overall. And believe me, I understand that and I get that. But I think it's going to increase exposure because it's going to increase scarcity a little bit to make every game mean a lot more, not only through the regular season, but through the play-in tournament. Because now if you're the 9, 10 seed, most of those guys may not want to be there anyway. So why even have them play? And it gives an opportunity to really fight for that 2 to 6 spot. In those 2 to 6 spots, you really get an opportunity to fight for the number one because you know what it means. If you're the number one seed, you have a week off at minimum. You get to the semifinals. If you're 2 through 6, you already know you're in the first round of the playoffs. You don't have to worry about it. But if you fall within that 7, 8, you'll have to still play for your spot in the play-in tournament. So as I go to this bracket, just to show you how this would work, so with this idea I have, the play-in tournament for the 9, 10 game is completely eradicated. So the Kings and the Mavs don't play, the Bulls and the Heat don't play. It would only be the Warriors and the Grizzlies playing for the last and final seventh spot, and it would be the Magic and the Hawks playing for the last and final seventh spot in the East. So that would be all. It would be two facing seven, three facing six, four playing five, and that's your first round of the NBA playoffs. First seed gets the first round bye, they get a week off of rest. So if we transition that over to the playoff bracket and how that would work, one of the things I really like the idea for is because it makes the playoffs more interesting because it'll allow for matchups that you typically wouldn't have until the NBA finals in most of these brackets. So obviously for the Eastern Conference, nothing would have changed. The Cavs are the number one seed. Pacers 4 beats 5. They're the lowest remaining seed because the Celtics beat the Magic and the Knicks beat the Pistons. So 2, 3 they stay together. one plays four, so nothing would have changed over there. But if you go to the Western Conference side, instead of the Thunder playing the Nuggets in the second round for the semifinals, see down here, obviously you're remembering the Warriors beating the Rockets as the 7 seed, beating the 2. So now, similar to how the NFL playoff works, if you're the 7th seed, you go on to play the highest seed remaining available. So now in this case, the Warriors would have went on to Oklahoma City, and you could have had a matchup between SGA and Steph, which would have drummed up a lot more attention, or maybe the same amount of attention as it did with SGA versus Jokic, which in this example worked because it was the two MVPs fighting it out for that last rung of supremacy over the league. But people that maybe wanted to see the Warriors go on the Thunder and see what that would look like in a series, you wouldn't have that opportunity unless both the Warriors and the Thunder made it to the Western Conference Finals, because 2, 7, 3, and 6 would never have an opportunity to play 1, 8, 4, 5 until that moment. But now that can happen at any point, and you can prepare for any team. If you're the Thunder, the only team you had to prepare for was obviously the Grizzlies, and you only had to prepare for the Nuggets and the Clippers after that series was over. But how much more competitive do you think it is if, hey, yeah, you got off a week, but you have no idea who you're going to play? It could be the Nuggets, it could be the Clippers, it could be the Wolves, it could be the Warriors. If you're the Cavs, same thing. It could be it could be the Pacers, it could be the Bucks, it could be the Pistons, it could be the Magic. It could have been any single one of those teams versus the one that was in your specific bracket, which is why I really like it even more, which I think that extra week of rest gives you an opportunity to not only get rest, but scout other different players versus just watching one series and locking in on who you're going to have to face in the next round. I think it's a good idea, and I think it makes the league more competitive because it gets rid of the 9-10 game, which is historically not as competitive as people would like. It doesn't draw as many views as people would like. So you get rid of that. You make the 7-8 games on a Friday night. You have one at 7 o'clock. You have one at 9:30. Both of them are winner take all. Biggest night in basketball before the NBA Finals. You make it a huge ordeal. Big production. That's it. Win or go home. That's the end of that, right? Or if you want to split it between two different networks, you can do that too. And then you go into the playoffs, and then you have everything lined up just as we talked about. So just to recap, if you even need it, transitioning this over, one seed throughout the regular season, they get a first round bye, they automatically jump into the semifinals. They play whatever the lowest remaining seed is available between 4, 5, 6, and 7. The 7-8 game is the only playing game for the East and Western Conference. The winner of that game, they go into the playoffs. 8, 9, and 10 are completely out. There is no 9-10 play-in game. The 8th seed is completely out. You have 2 face 7, 3 and 6, 4 and 5 for your first round of the Eastern and Western Conference Finals, and then your conference semifinals as the 1 seed back in. Pretty easy, pretty simple math. I think it makes the league more competitive through the regular season. I think it adds more chaos in basketball, which is something that you want, a little bit of different kind of matchups. I think it all works out, but maybe I'm wrong on this one. Comment on this below and let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if you agree. Let me know if you disagree. In all cases, if you can, like the video, subscribe to the Scale Sports channel. We'll have a lot more information to talk about as we continue these videos. But either way, thanks for checking in, and we'll get back to y'all soon on that.